Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 6, 2022 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I'm trying to get into a rhythm with this, and so far it's not working great. But I've talked to you about the idea of the backbone, the heart of the home, as in where things happen. Okay, now I went through that a couple of days ago, and I want to look at the arteries that connect the different organs. Okay, now I'm looking at this in terms of a human body simply because it's easier to give some sort of reference so that you can sink in as to what the challenge is. Now, the arteries in any home there's a number of them that you look at. The arteries in the chest, as it were, are your main floor. Okay, you start going to the head. This is when you go and get up into, quite frankly, into the upstairs, into usually the bedroom. Okay, but we're going to look at the arteries of the house. Okay, your arteries in your home are your hallways. Now, I spent part of today clearing the arteries out of my house and clearing the arteries out so that the energy can flow properly. The next step, once you've got the hallways cleared, and I do mean so that you can walk down the hall without a problem. Oddly enough, you'll find that the easier it is to want to navigate the halls, even if the rest of the house is a bit of a mess. Okay, if the hallways are clear, you're still going to feel more relaxed. Don't take my word for it. If your hallways are cluttered, get the clutter out of the way and see how much better that feels. Okay, now when you come through the front door, the first thing you have to look at is when you open the main door to your house. Take a look and make certain you do not. There's two things. If you have a mirror right when you first come through the door, then that's got to be dealt with. If not, you're saying fine. I encourage you not to put something reflective on that first wall that you're looking at, no matter what it is. Because what happens, and this is where that feng shui issue comes in, when you walk into a room, into the house from outside, or from the hallway if you're in an apartment, the main entrance to your own dwelling, okay, if you've got a reflective surface you're walking into, this is something that literally bounces prosperity right back out the window. There is a way to compensate for this, and that is through nature. And what I mean by that is whether we're talking putting a live plant right there, or putting a picture of plants around it, or just taking the little stickers that can go on mirrors, those little see-through stickers showing plants. The best plant, quite frankly, is ivy. Okay, is the vine type plants. Which reminds me, I think I'm having trouble. Like, I'm striving to actually get plant life working in my house. It's amazing how much trouble I have with that. But if you take just the little decals, just the little plant stickers of plants, and put them on the edges of your mirror, this will counterbalance the energy flow and help and open the door to let prosperity come into your house. Okay, now you walk in. I'm looking at a few things myself, but you take care of that mirror first. Make sure that the hallway coming into the house is not impeded. Okay, in other words, get the clutter out of the way. And again, this is about changing the energy in your life so when you walk out of the house, you are that much more relaxed. Okay, so that you're able to actually connect with people, that you're able to cope with the stresses of being outside. For me, this is a whole lot of complications. But take a look at what's going on with your place. Get that entrance hallway cleared to start with. And again, you always break things down into smaller tasks, into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Now, fortunately for me, I've already been doing this, so my hallway right now, to get through the house, is clear from front to back. There's still a little bit of buildup on the edge of it. Like down my one hallway, I've got a small section for storage. And a little of that is out further than I'd like. So when I get done this video, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, and this is why I've got this neat little list here of things that I'm aiming at doing. So I'm just adding to it here, that's all. Remember this funny little thing? I've talked to you about it a lot. Okay. Now right now, on the list right now, I've got to sort out, and I can't show you because at this point I still don't have a mobile camera that I can show you. Not that you're necessarily interested, because quite frankly, my office, the way I live, is not necessarily up to snuff in my eyes. But the first thing I've got to do is clear off a little bit more of the floor, and in all fairness, there's very little down there. I've got a garbage bucket and a recycling bucket. They're not exactly where I desire them to be yet. So, it's just minor things like that. Then I've got the journey. This particular recording. Okay. When I get it done, then I've got to post it. Okay. So that is 3 right off the bat. As soon as I've done that, I've got the office desk that I've got to deal with. That I'm working with right now. But at this point, I'm simply adding the back hallway. Okay. Because I know the rest of it is already clear. Okay. But you do it one step at a time. Like I said, 15-minute to half hour. This way you can check them off. You can go, okay, I know what I've got to do. I know where I'm standing. And I know what kind of progress I'm making. This is a way of getting the energy running. Now, I do know for an absolute certainty, and I cannot prove it to you, only you can prove it to you. By getting things organized, you will find the energy in your house and the energy in your own body is real convenient. Now, there's many of you that I have no doubt you may be fighting an issue of, it's not a question of being comfortable the way it is so much as being used to it. Okay, this is where procrastination comes from. Well, it's working and I don't have to worry about it, which is true, but it clogs the energy. Okay, and it's very much like having clogged arteries. If the arteries are clogged, the body doesn't run correctly. If the arteries in your home are not clear, if they're clogged, the energy in your home does not run properly. And like I mentioned, the heart of your home has 3 chambers: the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room. Those are the 3 chambers of the heart of your home. They have to as well be cleared out. And this can all be done at the same time. Just keep an eye on it. Okay, break your tasks down to 15-minute to half-hour tasks. You'll find it so much easier to get it straightened around. Now, currently, I'm looking at things and trying to get them organized. And there's a lot of them that I have to deal with. So what do I got here? Okay. This little one here, and I should probably do this, so I'm going to. Okay. Now you'll notice, while I'm talking, I'm still moving stuff around. This is because, this is why I got accused of being hyperactive at one point. Right. As a matter of fact, many people thought I had ADHD. But when I went to a shrink to find out, when I went to a psychiatrist actually, to find out if there was anything wrong, he looked at me and he goes, "Do you ever get anything accomplished? When you pick a goal, do you ever complete it of your own accord?" He says, or do you have to have somebody constantly reminding you? My immediate response was, no, I absolutely get it completed on my own. And that's because I use this little task. It's a tool, it's a crutch, but it works like a charm. And his immediate response was, well, if you're getting it accomplished yourself without somebody else having to constantly remind you, then you don't have ADHD. He says, granted, you would get things done faster if you quit doing 15 or 20 at a time. But the fact you're getting them done at all without somebody else telling you to go do it. You don't have ADHD. Now, there are some people that do legitimately have it. Most of the people that, from my experience, most of the people I've found that are acute and that are diagnosed with ADHD do not have ADHD. What they've got, and I'm no clinical psychiatrist. Okay, what most of them have is lack of focus and no tools. They've got no functional way of dealing with it. Okay, this method. Okay, if you think you're suffering from ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, if you think you're suffering from one of those, and do not get me wrong, if you're on medication and it's helping you feel better, stay on it. Okay, it doesn't affect what I'm about to say. This little list, you're doing it now. Yeah, it looks yellow, but if I bring it closer, you can see there's writing on it. But since you can't read my handwriting anyway, it doesn't really matter. But this little list will help you gain control over that issue of getting distracted. Okay, that's why you keep it to 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Okay, now I've got, like, by the time I'm done this, if I keep this up at this pace, I'll probably have 3 or 4 extra things, but that means that the rest of my evening, I will have to get some of these things racked off. The nice part about this list, it's kind of like you're doing like a flight, your checklist before flying. You look through them, you look at the list and go, okay, these things have to be done. Okay, now I sent off a letter today to a couple of people definitively stating from here on out, I am taking dominant control, and that's just the way my life is going to go. Because every time I've turned to a professional, okay, to somebody that has been theoretically trained, every time I turn to them, with very few exceptions, I have ended up on the short end of the stick. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I'm telling you I am not trained in any of this. I'm going to be 59 in a couple of months, and this has been a long road of self-discovery. Trusting people, talking to people that have done things successfully. Okay, I took a computer into the store today. Okay, into a store that I'm quite comfortable with, that has always treated me properly. Took a computer in and went, here's the situation. How do I deal with it? Okay. And their immediate reaction was, no problem. They looked at it and went, this is what we're looking at for a problem. Okay. Now, I had a choice. I could have gone and had that repaired. But instead, what I'm doing, because I knew it was a problem child when I got it, it's at a point where it's just not worth it. Okay. So, bearing in mind this issue of getting the energy in your house running smoothly, because I've got the arteries open and because most of the office is sorted around, which, by the way, in the house, the office is your brainchild. In the home, when you're taking a look at it all, if you break this down from an anatomical standpoint, the 3-chamber heart, the dining room, the living room, and the kitchen, that's your 3-chamber heart. The office, wherever you work on your finances, even if you don't have a specific room for it, your office is your brain. Now you get to figure out, if you think about it, the bathroom is, for obvious reasons, you know what happens there. The laundry room is, if you will, that's your kidneys. Okay. That is that's the kidneys, that's the bathtub sort of thing, where you're getting rid of the surface stuff. Okay. And of course, as you well understand, when you take a look at the bedroom, that's where you do your recovery. Now, many of you may well sleep on the couch. You might sleep in the living room. Heck, I've seen people sleep in the dining room. The important factor is getting it all sorted around. Okay, and what I'm looking at right now is simply the energy running through your hallways. Get the clutter off the floor. It may still be on the walls a little, let's face it. Clutter grows on the walls, when you're looking at the arteries, it gathers all the way around. When you're looking at pipes, at the stuff going through pipes, it builds up all the way around the pipe. Okay, so what you're looking at is getting those cleared up. And yes, when I'm talking about the clutter around the pipe or around the hallway, take a look at the hallway. If you look at the roof and you find cobwebs that are growing along and they're just a little spider mites, this does not mean you're a bad housekeeper. Okay, but even those little things do build up. The dust and what have you is the start of the buildup. And it's up to you and you alone to clear that out to get the energy running properly. Now, the thing is, I came back to this world, and I should have started with this a long time ago, but I came back to this world, to this lifetime, to pass on one simple message to everyone in existence. And that message is that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. Now, the neat part about it that I've come to understand, because on top of being a spiritual guide, my focus is on writing, metaphysics, the alien situation, alien races, alien technologies, alien society. Okay. And, of course, how to get your heart working properly, relationship-wise, home-wise, family-wise, business-wise, all of this is all interconnected, including the path you follow for spirituality. Okay. Now, I'm focusing primarily on the hallways today for a very simple reason. Get the energy running smoothly. It doesn't take much to do it. But once you've got it running, you will find it feels so much better. Okay. Not to the point that you'll be hanging out in the hallway in all likelihood. You might be, I don't know. Depends on you. When you take a look at all change, it starts with you. The energy starts at the upper level, comes down. It has to get to the heart to give you that emotional imperative. Now, I ran into a complication, okay, and that emotional imperative hit me pretty hard, which is why I sent this particular letter off to a few select people, just to reclaim power over my life, to say, look, I appreciate your help. I appreciate what you've done for me. But the reality is I have to stand my ground. I've got to take dominant control myself. Okay, same applies to you, because the only person in existence that can be successful for you is you. And this is one of the reasons why I am starting to get things really organized tightly to make sure that they take place. Okay, and the clutter in the house, the clutter on my office right here is one of the big things I have to look at. Okay, but with that in mind, I am going to do it. And yes, I will walk you through it. So just a curiosity question, if you haven't done this yet, okay, think about this. Up on this wall, you'll see a wood sign. That wood sign says, I am worth it. That is where we start changing your life. Now, if you haven't already got that on your fridge, like already written on a sheet of paper and stuck on your fridge, if you haven't done so, do so now. Okay, you can write it on a sheet of paper. It doesn't take much. I know you can write while you're listening. So take a sheet of paper and just write on it, I am worth it. Take that, use a magnet on your fridge, and stick it to the fridge. In all fairness, if I were living in a place I personally owned, I'd recommend, and I recommend this for you, okay, if you own your fridge, only if you actually own it. This does not mean if you rent an apartment, it's your home. I mean, if you physically have bought the fridge yourself. Then personally, I would recommend taking a permanent marker and writing, "I am worth it," on the fridge. Okay. Now I've considered putting it in a few other places, and I may just do that yet. I'm not entirely certain, but I think I may. I'm going to weigh that out, talk to my son. Considering my son lives with me, so this directly applies to him as well. But it's not an entirely bad idea. Most people have something have something on the front door of their apartment or of their house. And taking a little sign, "I am worth it," and putting it on your front door is not a bad move. You know, we hang a wreath on our door every Christmas. Okay. So it's not an unheard of idea to hang something on your door. Many people personalize their doors. Okay. And this is just something that dawned on me just while I've been talking to you. But the moment you get there, you put that there, it changes the energy in your house right down. Okay. From my standpoint, a very powerful idea, which is why I'm going to be talking to my son. And the next time I bring that up, I will let you know whether or not I did. I still have no idea how to put pictures up, so you're stuck with what I got. But we'll deal with that later. Anyway, if you haven't already done that, put that on your fridge. Okay, the other thing that is imperative you get on a sheet of paper, somewhere where you can see it easily, is it's been cluttered again. Makes sense. So I will have to find that and get it set where it belongs. Around here someplace, probably in that stack of paperwork I'm trying to sort out, is this statement, is this sheet that says, "I have legally attained a minimum of $3,500 by April 30th, 2022 at 1 minute to midnight." Now, to be clear, I only require 25 to run my house. Okay, that's all I require to clear bills, to pay bills such as rent or mortgage, whichever one you're holding. All of my utilities being power, cable, gas, phone, cell phone, and one credit card. They are your living expenses. Like, those are your utilities. Because a credit card handled properly will save you a staggering amount of money. Okay, but only if you handle it properly. Because here's why the thing with a credit card is you're using somebody else's money to buy what you desire for a short period. But you've got to clear that bill as soon as you've got the money coming in. Which is why when my paycheck comes in, because I've already got rent in the bank, when my paycheck comes in, probably 90% of it will go onto my credit card to wipe out the bills that I've already added. Okay, but if you don't stay focused on the finances, on the heart of the house, not the heart of the home. It's kind of like the difference between your physical north and your magnetic north. Okay, on the planet. Okay, you've got the heart of your home is a three-chambered heart. The heart of the house is only wherever you're working on your finances. Now, if you add those together, you get 4. Now, if you follow numerology at all, 4 is the number of foundation. Okay, that's where things stabilize. Now, with that in mind, and again, this is why I say, am I a spiritual guide? Yeah. Every tool I offer is a tool I personally work with. And when we look at the basics of numerology, now most people use basic numerology. I'm not going to get into that right now. But for those of you that do, 4 is the number of foundation. Well, even in the numerology I personally use, okay, which is base 12, 4 is still the number of foundation. So we have the 3, which is your number of creativity. Okay. And you add the one from the heart of the house to that 3. Now you have a foundation. Now you've got the energy seated properly in your home, in your house. Now you can start moving forward. But it starts by taking control of your life. And this was what I ended up doing today. When I sent this letter off, I sent it off to a few people in particular. They know who they are. Okay. But I sent it off to reclaim power and to just solidify my own commitment to me that come heck or high water, I'm going to land on my feet. I'm going to get ahead. Okay. And the fact that, for me, as I get ahead, I will be able to help other people. That's just the way I am. Okay. I do not go out of the house much. I go out when I have to, but the sad part is, if I leave the house, I'm usually looking at coming home and requiring a nap. Not because I'm old. Okay, I'm in better shape now than I was 15 years ago. But the problem is that my stress level goes through the roof when I'm out and about. So, first and foremost, I do strongly recommend, if you've got a way to do it, take that sign, I am worth it. And I was trying to figure out why something wasn't working. Well, the reason being I didn't have it anchored right. All things work on a basis of 3. Okay, now I've already got the sign in my office here that you can see up there. Yeah, I can point well. Up there. I've got it on my fridge up in the heart of the home. And if I put it, and when I put it on the front door, okay, what that will do is add that 3rd anchor point. That's where the energy comes through the door, and net result, things start to improve. This is why I said the tools I'm working with, the ones I'm suggesting for you, are the same ones I personally work with. Okay. Now, I still have a few things I've got to get done, but that's where this sits. Now, because of once we've got that moving, and like I said, do that and get your hallways cleared. This is how we start changing the energy in your life, but it's up to you to make it happen. Now we're at the end of the podcast of the vlog here. Thanks again to whoever it was that actually told me what that was. But we are at the end of it at the half-hour mark. So I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.